Because all these coasters are male. There's no female coasters.
Because there's no female rides. No, it's the other way around. It's
They're like boats. They're all ladies.
well, or it could be, or females can be king. Who cares anymore, right?
Oh, that's true.
What does it matter?
Feminism.
Yeah. Welcome to Thanks for Writing. We're still here. Well, I like a good old-fashioned tournament, and I know we did one with roller coasters, with wooden coasters. God, I think it was like 4 years ago already. It was a while ago. This would be fun to do again, to kind of go through a different category. We did Woodies. I thought today we would do Airtime Machines and match them up and see who reigns supreme in that roller coaster category. So, and I thought maybe we would just do it. We would just go through each matchup and we'll just kind of talk it through and come to some kind of consensus here on the show. We should do some kind of introduction sometimes, I guess. There's three of us here today. You got Be Cool, Juicer here as always, and then we got Coaster Cat with us.
Hello.
She's here to join us with this. And I know she's ridden a few less of these than we have. We've ridden all of these. She's ridden only about half, actually, of these Airtime Machines. But we wanted to be a comprehensive list going across the country. And it's a classic 16. Well, it's 16 slots. I cheated and we put 18 rides in. So there's a couple of... There'll be two triple threat matches here in the first round. Kind of.
Okay.
I think we might have done something like that with the voting on the first time we did this.
Oh, are we going to have this up for the folks to look at, or we're just no?
Yeah, sure. We'll put it up.
Okay, it'll be on the website. We'll have a link somewhere.
We'll put it somewhere. Yeah, we will. Well, yeah, like a blank one, and they could do their own version of it.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, without any further ado, here we are. It's King of the Coasters, Airtime Machines. All right, so. Ready to start?
I'm ready.
Start it with our first matchup. So I did do this at random. I mean, I had to compile the list of rides I wanted. So it's most of the notable ones around the country. It's all U.S., not even Canada. It's not North America. It's only U.S. That was an easier way to whittle it down. And I used a random number generator early on with my list and to kind of make the matchups. We'll see how this plays out. This is interesting. It's not going to be easy from the very first round, though, because it's sort of random. Ooh, okay. So our first matchup in our 2020 Airtime Machine King of the Coaster tournament, Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure versus Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America. Big, heavy-hitting matchup to open this up. So these are two circa 2000... B&M Airtime Machines.
Okay, Raging Bull's more the Twister. Nitro's more the out and back. They're both about the same height, right? I think. Yeah, Nitro's just a wee bit taller. They're both very good. I do like both of those rides very much.
Oh yeah, Nitro's a good bit taller, more than I thought at least. Okay, 230 feet versus Raging Bull's 202. A Raging Bull drops into a little bit of an underground trench tunnel, so it drops a little bit more.
Okay.
205, off the lift, or 208, I think, but it's 215 on Nitro, the drop. So Nitro's bigger in every category there.
Right away, you're starting with one of my absolute favorites and one I've never ridden. So.
Oh no, we're all flawed here.
So I'm going to vote Nitro.
Well, I don't know. We're doing votes, like we said, but we'll talk it out. But it's like, to me, these are, having just done Raging Bull again this past year, it was damn good. And it's like, they're really pretty damn close. And it's almost really a matter of whether you prefer out and back or or Twister style, because it's like I think they're both excellent examples of their type.
Oh yeah. I know we panned Raging Bull, I think, on the show the first time we wrote it. I don't know what happened there, because every time we wrote it after that, we were pretty into it. And especially this last time, it was really awesome. Packs a lot of air for a Twister.
All right, is it fluffy air or is it ejectory air?
No, it's a B&M. It
fluffy.
rides like Nitro, yeah.
But it's more. Would I like it more than Nitro? I feel like I would. By the way, you guys are describing it, because I like twistery rides.
That I don't know, but I do know after the last time I was thinking about you weren't there, and yeah, I was thinking you'd love it for sure. I don't know if you like. I mean, you'd have to ride it and decide for yourself if you'd like it better than Nitro or not, but. I know you'd really like it.
It would
sure.
definitely be a contender, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you'd really like it. For me, it's just gotten better every time I've ridden it.
Yeah, it goes on. Feels like it goes on for a long time, and it would take a whole lot of rides for me to really get a good handle on that layout, because I don't know. I can't remember whatever is going to come up next with that ride, because there's so many turns and dips and stuff. And it just goes and goes and goes. Where Nitro is like very cut and dry.
Yeah, you ride that twice, you know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorites, though, so I'm not complaining about that. But.
And I do think I like Nitro better overall. But Raging Bull is a really close contender.
Yeah, Raging Bull, for the fact that it's all in kind of one area. It's a large area, but still you could see most of the ride from the queue. And yet, yeah, it's like a new ride to me every time I go back.
Yeah.
Which I guess in some ways, adds to the fun factor in a way, because it's great turns and drops, but I don't necessarily have it in my mind. One of the other big differences that, besides the obvious, the Twister versus Out and Back, that I can think of is the fact that Raging Bull is one of the few airtime machines of any maker, but of B&M in this case, that levels out before the drop, which creates a very different kind of effect on your first drop. I don't know. I think I like that. I think I do prefer it that way. And it's almost the exception to the rule out there in coasters in general.
Yeah. So it's like that and Apollo's Chariot? Are those like the two?
I think, yes. I think that might be it.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because I don't know if I ever really would have thought about it, but it does have an interesting push-pull effect right off the lift, where you're kind of almost jerked forward, but then you get like a real forceful pull down the drop.
Yeah, I mean, we always ride in the back on these things.
Well, yeah, I should mention that.
As right. It is, yeah, and then, I think it just intensifies it on the first drop.
Yeah, as opposed to if it's just right off the lift, it's all one smooth motion, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's like its own element. And I never thought about that.
I do really like that.
I think the flattening out kind of makes it feel faster for the whole train, right?
Yeah.
Just based on my experience with Woodies.
Yeah, I tend to think so. Yeah, because again, I just said you hadn't been on an airtime machine like that, but you've been on some rides like that.
Oh, yeah.
Just the fact Vortex that we rode 14 times in a day to a finish there late last year, you rode, and that has a cool, that flattens out and turns and then drops, and it makes that drop so much more intense.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to miss that drop.
Yeah, that was a cool part of that ride. So there's a difference there. I mean, it's funny because I kind of tend to lean Nitro. I guess I tend to lean Out and Back in the end. I don't know. When it comes to airtime machines, I guess it's a ride type where predictability doesn't really matter so much. They're just so impressive, especially when they're done right. It's a very close call. This is a tough one right off the bat. So I don't know. Is it safe to say we're going to go Nitro on this one though? Do we have to? It's like you just have to.
Yeah.
This could have been a final or a semifinal at least, but that's the way it worked out. I think Nitro is going to advance. The next matchup is one of the triple threats. We'll go right into that bullshit. Talk about bullshit. They don't do this in basketball, but
3 teams on the court.
yeah, they haven't figured that one out yet. They might, though, to get fans back when all the sports come back on. I don't know. We just spoke of it, Apollo's Chariot at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, versus 2 rides named Goliath. Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain versus Goliath at Six Flags over Georgia. Or SVOG.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going into another one where I've only ridden one of them.
Okay. And it's interesting. It's which one?
The Goliath at Magic Mountain. And I did like it a lot until a couple hours later when we saw a bunch of people stuck on it and they were half off the first lift hill. And I was like, I am never riding that again.
No, it was off the block break, actually. But yeah, that was the damnedest thing. I don't think I'd ever seen that before.
Yeah, half the people were hanging. I would have been, oh God, I would have hated it so much.
That was like a malfunction on multiple levels. Like I mean, I know it's okay that block break is supposed to stop it if something's didn't clear the next segment, but it released it and then I guess clamped down later on. It was like half the train was off, like down the drop off that thing, and it's a pretty big drop off, that block break on that ride. And then the other half was still just level out on it, the back half. So that was really weird. But
they were there a long time.
But how about that ride? I mean, I don't know. I don't really care for it myself. That one, I don't know. That one, I don't know if that's ever really changed for me. I think I was always underwhelmed by it. It's just okay. Just kind of there. It's large.
That's what she said.
I'll give it that. It's all right. I don't know. It's a large disappointment, I think.
No, I'm with you. I never really liked this ride very much. I do get the gray out on it. I forget exactly which part. I don't really get much air on it. Yeah, I've never really been into this one.
I actually did like it quite a bit, but I have far less coaster experience than you guys. So I think with my fresher eyes, I'm excited to ride anything, maybe. So I'm easier to please, unless it's too rough.
So you got into it.
I liked it, yeah.
You were okay with it?
I was okay with it.
Did you gray out?
I don't remember.
Because this is a notorious.
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever grayed out.
You haven't been on Intimidator yet.
Well, let's go.
305.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's in the second half of the ride, I want to say.
Did they? I think they have slowed it down over the years.
Probably. I remember when we did Titan or Titan at Six Flags over Texas, and I remember them, I think, completely stopping it in the mid-course brake run there. Mm-hmm. I want to say they do the same thing in Magic Mountain, but I can't remember.
Yeah, but I don't think they didn't used to. It used to just be more of a trim brake effect under normal operation, I think. So, yeah, I do think it is less. The gray out's less than it used to be. We'll talk about it more later, but Titan, of those 2 rides that are identical, I believe, right? Or the mirror image?
I think they're mirror image.
Titan just rides better to me. And I don't know. I've never really been able to get behind the Goliath at Magic Mountain.
Oh, maybe it's not mirror image. It might actually be exactly the same.
I liked the theming and like around the entranceway and the sign, giant.
Yeah, like that.
I like that.
The giant letters. Yeah. And there's the 2 giant foot.
Yeah.
Feet prints in this concrete. It's kind of neat. And then it's just some kind of non-defined jungle theme after that, I think.
Mythical or fairy tale or I don't know, some sort of exotic world.
Well, it's
but
like
in the
Lost
jungle,
Continent
Lost Continent.
Kind of
okay,
kind of almost like if you had to compare it to something that exists, a different park. We should mention, I guess, that's Giovanola, which is a company that has not done a lot of rides. In the early days of B&M, they were the track manufacturer.
I believe
before B&M had its own plant, that famous Ohio plant they have now. They were using them to fabricate their track, and then they went off on their own and decided to design a couple rides.
Yeah, they've only done 3.
Okay, so the 2 we just talked about, and then what else?
Right, Anaconda at Gold Reef City in South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Oh, okay.
It's an invert, actually.
Oh, they did an invert.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I kind of would like to ride that.
Yeah.
Wonder how that came out, because it's interesting. It's like it's B&M ish, but it's still a far cry. The Goliath that we're talking about right now, at least. It's only 2 across. First of all, they didn't go 4, so I guess the track is a little narrower gauge, and I don't know, it just doesn't have that feel quite.
Yeah. Oh, it's so interesting. This Anaconda looks like their version of Batman the Ride.
Oh man,
I like that.
It's like the layout. It starts off exactly the same, but then it deviates after the second loop and the turnaround. Then it's like the 2 corkscrews are kind of in a row, not separated.
Maybe we'll get to it right before they tear it down.
Funny enough, that was the first one. That was 99. That was before the Goliath and Titan.
Oh, they tried their hand at that first. And no one in the U.S. bought one.
No.
I don't know the full story on these, but I wonder if it was one of those, did Magic Mountain really want B&M and they were just too busy? And so they had to go with Giovanola just to get that big airtime machine in on that year. I guess it was 2000, right?
Yeah.
Another interesting thing, that was like a half step that opened in between a lot of the notable 200-foot rides, but before Millennium Force.
I believe this was a record breaker when it opened.
Yes.
Opened in February of 2000. Weird.
Yeah, because now there actually are year-round, but it was the almost year-round park at that time, Magic Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And they got it out, and then like 3 or 4 months later, Millennium Force opened, and we went to 300 feet. So
yeah, so between these 3 we're talking about here, Goliath and Magic Mountain glided over Georgia and Apollo's Chariot. This is the tallest and fastest between the 3.
Okay, by a lot.
But yeah, 255 feet, 85 miles an hour, and the other 2 are 200.
Right, more traditional hypers. But let's do the other Goliath real quick. The one in Georgia. I remember that being a lot more fun than it should have been.
Yeah, well, this is going to be, it will be kind of quick because we did it once. How many years ago?
It was, holy crap. 10 years ago. Is that what you said?
No, I don't know. I don't remember what year that was.
Oh, you just asked me. Okay. Yeah, that was a decade ago.
Jesus. Yeah. So I honestly don't remember very much. I remember it being good, really solid ride. And it goes like outside the park, onto the highway, which is strange.
Yeah, you do actually remember it because we've talked about it a lot of times, even on the show, I think, but also just outside the show. Yeah, because it goes out into like the median of the highway out there, and then comes back. The entire ride was built over existing stuff, essentially. So I remember the bunny hills at the end are like you're like on rooftops. you're like going over like the games or restaurants or something like in the park. And I think that's the coolest thing about it actually is the fact that it's just like flying over the park and outside the park too. So I think that was the best parts of it. I think it's just an average B&M otherwise. Not bad, but not far from the best.
I remember like the station and the lift being in the park kind of, and the rest of it, it's like, I don't know where it goes.
Yeah, you go outside you leave the park proper, and like you go over like the parking booth lanes, I think, and then out into like the road that connects the park to like the highway. And it's just bizarre, but it's a kind of a cool bizarre.
I want to ride it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a selling point, right?
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
It's interesting. So in a way, this one doesn't need to be the biggest, tallest, fastest. It's just fun with the whole setup, I think. It's still to me a fond memory, and I do want to do it again one day.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I definitely like this Goliath better than the Magic Mountain Goliath.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. You can't, but okay.
Yeah. That's good. Again, you guys sold me on riding it, so...
It's the real deal B&M versus knockoff B&M.
Well, I like B&M, so let's go.
Yeah, it's
let's
like
go with that.
It's like that Goliath at Over Georgia. It's like a Nitro light,
okay,
but over much more interesting terrain.
Okay.
They put it in where they had no space. It's usually that's reserved for Hershey Park, but
That's exactly what I was thinking about when you were describing it.
yeah, Six Flags is actually not really known for that. They'd rather just take us part of the parking lot, if anything. But it's one odd case where they built a ride over the park.
Yeah, it's funny. I never really thought about that. Six Flags does not like to stack their rides on top of each other. They really do avoid that.
Well, in that one case, they didn't. They kind of went for it. So it's a very fun ride. All right, so we can establish that we probably, if it was just a one-on-one there, I think we'd take that over Goliath and Magic Mountain. But now you got Apollo's Chariot. I know that's a special one for us, Druzer. I mean, we've been riding that since we were very young, and we loved that. We loved that park back in those days, and I don't know. That's a ride that there's something special about it.
I have only heard good things about that ride. So.
Yeah.
That's
another one that I've said to you, like I really think you're gonna like it a lot.
The first B&M Hyper, right?
That's the first, huh? That's the very first B&M Airtime machine. It levels out before the drop, as we talked about. It's kind of like Nitro in terms of location and terrain, but combined with Goliath at Over Georgia all at the same time. It's
How does that work?
You're kind of in the woods and you go over some natural water, kind of like Nitro. But unlike Nitro, where you're totally immersed in that, Apollo's Chariot actually does run it alongside the parking lot. So it's not as egregious as the typical Six Flags installation. There's like a strip of trees in between you and the parking lot, but it's thin and you go high. So if you look over at different points, you can still see it. It's somewhere in between.
So yeah, it's funny, the leveling out before the drop, that was just something that B&M did on their first two Airtime machines. After that, they got rid of it.
Okay, so if you put it in order, okay, that was their first thought. And then I wonder if they didn't like it or the parks didn't like it, but they never did it again, huh?
No, yeah, they did it for Apollo's Chariot, Raging Bull, and then the one after that, Nitro, they got rid of it. Haven't looked back.
Never went back.
Is it because it takes up more room, maybe? Trying to conserve space?
Yeah, perhaps. But Apollo's Chariot, I really love this ride. And I think I like it more than you, B. For whatever reason, I don't want to speak for you, but it seems like you're a little down on that ride until you get on it again, and then you remember how good it is.
It's one of those for me. Is it? Yeah, maybe it is. I do know. I remember from the last time we were there. It's really great. It just comes up a little short.
How though? I don't understand where you're getting this from. Because every hill, there's air.
It just lacks a little more the more intensity that they started with. I guess really Raging Bull, the second one, and then continued with Nitro, and then never looked back on that too. I feel no, not necessarily. I can think of the one other one that kind of gets in there. But other than that, it is great though. I do love it. It's just not. I guess when I'm there, I'm hoping for Diamondback these days. I don't know, and it falls a little short of that. So I don't know. I do really like it. It's a solid ride, and I do appreciate the terrain. If you do keep your head straight forward the whole time, like you almost could never know you're that close to the parking lot, and then it's immersive. The turnaround especially, that feels like you're out in the woods or on a lake or something in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of cool.
Well, before now, I had only heard good things about it, so you must only complain to Druzer about that one.
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, it's their first attempt, so I don't know what that says actually, because their first attempt at loopers were like insane.
Yeah.
Like they never went back to the extremity of Kumba, really, and in some ways Batman the Ride, even, but yet with Hypers they started out a little more fluffy, and then they kind of got into it more slowly. I feel
right.
They left some in the tank, and then they experimented more later on. I don't know, but it's still a great ride. I do really enjoy it.
Okay, so taking from things that you've both said, Druzer, you said that there is airtime on every single hill. B, you said it's fluffy. I think that I would love this ride. I love fluffy air.
Yeah, I do think you would like this one a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, between these three, I'm taking Apollo's Chariot. That's the one that I would vote for.
Me too.
Well, my vote doesn't matter. I mean, but no, I would take. I mean, Goliath, Magic Mountain was definitely out, and then this versus over George's Goliath. No, that's actually pretty easy for me. I'll take Apollo's Chariot. I'll take the challenge to the sun on Apollo's Chariot. This next matchup, we're going to take Wild Thing from Valley Fair. Wild Thing versus Phantom's Revenge. Oh, Kennywood.
Okay, so it's the battle of the.
So Wild Thing. That bright green kind of always stuck out to me that they made it a different color, not red.
Well, wasn't that the first in that Airtime Machine series?
No, I believe Steel Force was the first.
Steel Force was the first? Let me see. No, I was right. Wild Thing was the first.
Wild Thing is the first?
Yeah.
What year was that?
96.
Oh, 96.
That was a year before Steel Force.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think it's their best one. It's okay, though. It's fun. I had no problem with it.
Yeah.
It's got a weird, complicated turnaround. I remember that, too. Mamba is pretty close to the same layout as Steel Force. And the same, high-speed helix turnaround. Whereas this one had, like, a weird, like, you turn left and then right, or right and then left, kind of turn around with, like, these big, sweeping, overbank turns.
Yeah.
A bit different. They didn't go for just the tight spin cycle. They didn't quite do that on this one. A little different. And so interesting that it's the first. Like that was their first inclination. But yeah, fine ride. It's got a couple of those tunnels on the way back, I believe, that they all tend to have.
I think so.
They got that from Magnum though.
Yeah.
They all just ripped that off from Magnum. Like the couple final drops in the tunnels and whatever. And then Phantom's Revenge. It's got the weird history. It was a classic arrow looper with the giant drop, 2 giant drops, and then a classic looper. Kennywood tore almost all of it out and turned it into a Airtime Machine with Morgan. I've always felt weird about that one, though. I guess on one hand, I never totally got over Steel Phantom. I can understand most people not thinking that in their mind. And then I don't know. It's like it's a cool ride, but it's never ranked up there with one of my favorites.
I get where you're coming from. Because it has been 20 years since Steel Phantom.
So I should be over it, you're saying?
Yeah, well, you actually got to ride it in its original form. I never did, so I guess I don't have the same feeling. I mean, the ride is always better than I remember. I know I like it, but it's always more forceful, and there's more air on it than I remember.
There is air, but it's like weird air. Like I think more of the air, it comes from weird little double dips toward the end of the ride.
Well, yeah, that air at the end is like ejector air, but the other like 75 or more, like 85% of the ride is a little more fluffy, and more just kind of about speed and force.
Right. They didn't really have the room to do like a lot of hills. So besides the 2 that were already there from the Arrow ride, yeah, it's mostly just little dips toward the end, and then like the rest of it is just big, intense turns. It's hard to just rank it up there in my mind as a great ride. It's like it's good, maybe not great.
I guess I'm just impressed with what they were able to do, with what Morgan was able to do, with the space that they had, and that was a weird retro fit.
Yeah, it comes together okay, and it's lasted all these years, so it's worked out fine. The replacement has now lasted longer than the original. So, I guess it was a good call overall for the park. Yeah, I mean, the thing that comes to my mind otherwise is the restraints that are weird. I never understood what happened with those, why Morgan went for a weird redesign of their restraints. It's the weirdest side ratcheting lap bars. And it's uncomfortable. It's hard to get in and out of the train. And then with some of that ejector air, it would be better if it was a classic Morgan train.
Yes, I don't understand why they don't have why they didn't go with their regular train design for that. That is.
It was fine. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that original train.
Yeah,
I still love riding those to this day. All right, I mean, I got to go Phantom though on this.
Yeah, I'm just more familiar with it, but I don't know. I would love to like ride these 2 back to back, but that ain't happening anytime soon. So I'll go Phantom's Revenge, sure.
I don't know. I want to say it's better. though, too. I want to say that I'm not just deciding for the heck of it. I feel like it's better, but I know it's hard. We have to ride them both in the same season one of these days again. Okay. Decision has been made. You ready for this one? Now we have a doozy. We have got ourselves the Battle of the Force. Battle of the Forces. It's Millennium versus Steel. What do you like better?
Well, Steel is where you told me you loved me the first time, but Millennium is a better ride. So I'm going to go Millennium. Sorry.
What?
No. You know that Steel Force is always number one in my heart, but Millennium's better in my body. I like riding Millennium better.
Well, these are two very different rides. Steel Force, another Airtime Machine. We just found out, second in the series. Also at that 200-foot level, height and drop. Millennium Force, the very first roller coaster, complete circuit coaster to go 300 feet. And that's Intamin. Delicious cakes as well.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's different. Where do we start otherwise? We already had one vote on this, so
Right.
You jumped out there with that.
I did. Steel Force hurts a little bit, their airtime. And although Millennium Force is more forceful, it's forceful in a better way.
Steel Force hurts a little bit? Where does it hurt?
All those last drops at the end, and then the brake run.
Okay, just the fact that you're kind of loose in the restraint, I guess, is what you're getting at. And you kind of, I mean, the air is really, really great. You get up so high that you kind of come down hard on the seat a couple times toward the end, those last couple dips. And
the beginning
then,
does not hurt. The beginning's fine.
Interesting. It's a lot of ejector air. Yeah, none of that on Millennium Force. Millennium Force, you're plastered to the seat, and it really is about high speed, bank turns. It's kind of lighter, gradual air. Now, I'll go Steel on this. I'm going to still stick to my guns from all these years. Of all the things that I've gone back on, I'm not going back on this. I may have gone to Magic Kingdom like 5 times in the last decade, but I will say, after doing it in 2019, I can appreciate Millennium Force more now. After, I guess it was the 20th season, 2019. Yeah, after 20 seasons, almost 20 years, I could appreciate it more now than I used to be able to. I mean, I did ride it its first year, so I kind of went the extremes. I've ridden it, and you as well. Right, Andrew? You just did it too. You wrote it. Oh no, maybe not. You weren't there with me the first time.
Right. Second season?
You got in the second season. All right, season in. But I actually wrote it like its first and most recent now season, and I can appreciate it more now. I don't know if the ride changed at all. Probably just me. My mindset is what changed.
Yeah, it's better with me having a blast next to
And
you.
then that also added to it a lot. It did, because you got really into it, and I believe it might be your favorite ride at Cedar Point.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know that any other ride you got that elated on. You were really happy.
Raptor might be second, but I think Millennium Force is definitely number one.
She really liked it, and that helps. It's infectious when you have someone next to you that's really getting into it, and it was her first time doing it. I mean, if I can only ride one of those two from here on out, I gotta go Steel Force still. I love Steel Force. I think it's great. It's one of the best turnarounds ever. I love that Helix. And it's a little more rough and tumble. Well, Morgan has a history with Arrow. They're related. Kind of a spin-off company. So I guess it just plays to the style I like better.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go Steel Force 2.
No,
but it's funny you say that you have more of an appreciation for Millennium Force now, because I also feel that way. Unlike some of these other rides, we have done Millennium Force a bunch over the years. It is impressive that the ride maintains its speed throughout the entire course. That is what makes it for me, because I don't get any air. I never did. I just rode it this last time. I still didn't get any air in the very back. I don't know. The ride just doesn't work on me for some reason. It's not that it's not fun. It still is fun to go 80 some odd and 90 some odd miles an hour like the whole time throughout that long, and it's a pretty long course. But I do like Steel Force better. Yeah, that turnaround is ridiculous, and I like all the ejector air. So I will say Steel Force.
All right, put it in the books.
But it is like you said, where I think probably most other people listening to this are going to think we're crazy. because everyone else loves that ride.
Because it's really great.
Oh, well, yeah. It's like bring on the hate now that we did this, because doesn't it still win like #1 ride in the country, Golden Ticket, like every year?
Pretty much, or it's in like the top 3, I think. Still.
Well, all right. Steel Force moves on. Controversial victory. Millennium Force is knocked out. All well. Next up, we have another 300 footer. Fury 325 versus Intimidator 305. These don't get any easier, huh?
No. This is a tough matchup. These are 2 like tough as nails rides.
Yeah, it's like Intimidator is insane to the point it's a little improperly designed.
Well, it definitely is. They had to fix it.
Yeah, but even with the fix, it's still improperly designed. It's still harsher than it needs to be. So it may very well, at least in this country, it may be Intamin's most extreme. And in many ways, I want to say that Fury is B&M's most extreme. You know, definitely most extreme without inversions. That I think is easy to think about. So this is battle of the balls to the wall machines.
I mean, I'll cast a vote early. I'm going to say Fury 325. Because
whoa, you're just going right for it, huh?
I'm going right for it because it is like a more properly designed ride, and it is an insane amount of air and speed, and it maintains the speed, and it does everything right. Intimidator 305 is fun, but I definitely get the gray out on that first drop, at the bottom of that first drop. But I mean, but there is air over those hills and the quick left-right turns.
Oh, I don't. Is there an official name for those? It's just weird cut-over turns. Yeah.
Yeah, where just like it quickly snaps between left and right. Those are a lot of fun. The speed on that is crazy. It is a really fun ride, but Fury is like the better one overall.
Well, what I think about with that is that you hated it the first time.
Well, that was before they modified it.
We should say, yeah, we actually got to ride both versions. We rode it pre-modification and post. And the first time, I liked it both ways, really. But I remember the first time you were really against it. You did not like it.
It felt like somebody punched me in the head. I had a headache after I rode it.
I mean, it definitely was dangerous. I mean, that's why they modified it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have put that money in if they didn't have to. So I think it really was legitimately dangerous to an extent.
Yeah. So, and then after they modified it, then I didn't get that headache anymore, and it was fine. I still gray out, but it was I don't get the headache, so it's okay.
That really is great. It's like I still gray out, as if that's just acceptable in this ride.
It's like I know,
and it is though. It's like part of that ride. It's just it's okay.
Yeah. For this one, it's like I give it a pass on that.
It's like it kind of shouldn't be. It's still doing something negative to your health. It's not really great.
Well, I think you said one time, it's like every time you ride it, you feel like you shave like a month off your life or something.
Yeah, a couple days at least.
Or at least a couple of days, yeah.
Yeah. But that's what makes me smile. I just can't help but love that. The fact that this ride is so audacious. It just doesn't care.
It's like loaded bacon chili cheese fries or something. It's like the equivalent of eating that.
Oh, it's like one of those Carl's Jr. creations. Yes.
Yeah, where it's like a heart attack sandwich equivalent.
They take a hot dog and like they like fillet it, like they open it up, and then they what do you call it? Butterfly it. That's what I'm thinking of. And then they like put that hot dog on top, and then cheese, and then like a baked potato. That's like a loaded baked potato with sour cream and bacon and all that stuff in there. And then they put all that in between two buns, and they call it, their summer burger, their all-American burger of the summer, or something. But yes, Intimidator 305 is like the guilty pleasure, awful heart attack special burger from your fast food restaurant of choice. You definitely shouldn't do it often, but I think once in a while it's fun. You experience what it's like to not be alive for a second. Oh, this is what it's like when I can't see anything and I'm dying. Okay, but now I'm back alive.
But Fury 325 is just like perfectly engineered, so it's really difficult to go up against that ride.
It's like Swiss precision
Versus Swiss cheese.
versus yeah, pretty much. They're both Swiss, right? But it's
Yeah.
like Intamin is the other side of Swiss. I guess I haven't said anything about Fury yet. I really like that ride. That's high on my list right now. Actually, I think of rides that I feel like I need to go back to
Oh yeah.
because it's been too long. I think it's been a few years, and I do recall really liking it. B&M outdid themselves on that one. It's not as clear cut for me. I mean, you kind of jumped out there right away with it, so I guess in your mind it was easy. But I could go through. I could see it and say Fury 325 takes it. We'll have to eliminate Intimidator here. It's okay.
Yeah, that is
Still-
kind of a shame that it goes out, but what can you do?
Yeah, but this is Airtime Machines is a pretty tight category. I mean, most of these rides are pretty huge, pretty much world class and famous, and I think probably each of them has their fans.
I guess there aren't very many that are just clearly not very good. Pretty much all of these are very good.
Where is Fury 325?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we stop saying that? We just assumed everybody knew. Carowinds. And of course, Intimidator 305 is in King's Dominion. All right, our next matchup. Oh, this will be fun. This is a matchup rooted in the SeaWorld parks. Steel Eel at Six Flags San Antonio versus Mako at SeaWorld Orlando.
Oh, this is a tough matchup.
Right.
I really
okay.
don't know. I need to think about this for a minute.
Coaster Cats are out of this one again, too. Yeah, you have not been on either one of these, huh?
Nope.
All right.
This is kind of funny because this should be clear cut, like a B&M Airtime Machine versus a Airtime Machine, and we say Airtime Machine because it's 150 feet. It's not 200.
I was careful to avoid that here. I mean, we're not talking about Hyper versus Giga versus even under Hyper. It's just these are all Airtime Machines. They all do the same thing.
But it's not clear cut for me. And the reason for that is, and we talked about this ride before. We gave it a full review, Mako. It's that last third or so of the ride, which stinks.
Mako should be. I see what you're saying. So that should be hands down. It should be easy.
Yeah.
It's a later days B&M. It feels like they really went for it with the steepness of the drops on this one. Like the bottom really opens up beneath you every time, and you just really get sucked down into those drops. And it's I know we covered it already, but it's like it was great. I remember being on it and it's like, oh man, they did it! Oh wow, this is awesome! And then then that final part hits, and then yeah. It's like as it seeps in while you're riding it, because you don't want to believe it at first. So maybe it's just one quick moment, and now it's gonna enter some final awesome helix or something, but no, it just keeps moseying around until you just can't believe it. You hit the final brakes, and it's like, holy shit, what do they do?
Yeah.
It probably is the worst finale on any of these that we've discussed so far. The first half is really just it's like a turned up Nitro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This ride kills me because that first 2/3 or so, the ride has the potential to be like the best Airtime Machine I've ever been on, but then it just pisses it all away. It's maddening.
All right, so it's a ride that we want to love it, but we can't. Now, Steel Eel, it's fun to say, and it's fun to ride.
Yeah.
It's just an all-around fun machine. It's not trying to wow you with anything. It's not a record breaker. I remember we couldn't get enough of it.
No, we rode that thing a lot.
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just kept going around and around. Let's do it. It was a lot of fun. For me, it's right there. It's like Steel Force, and then this is my second favorite Morgan Airtime Machine. It just doesn't let up, and you get air, and it just proves that bigger is not always better.
Yeah, this thing has ejector air on every hill, but it's even to the point where it even kind of hurts a little bit where it just throws you up into the restraint pretty hard and then slams you right back into the seat very forcefully. But for coming in a smaller package, it's very impressive.
It's not like 150 feet is small. I mean, it's not a kid's ride by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. It's not like
definitely a thrill machine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like, oh, this is, baby's first Airtime machine. It's more than that. It's bigger than that.
No, 150 feet, unlike another ride categories, is huge. With woodies or even inverts and loopers. 150 feet is very high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go Steel Eel. Actually, okay. It's the complete package versus Mako, which has a serious flaw, and I gotta go for like the better overall experience. So I think I'm going Steel Eel.
Yeah, it's funny as we're talking it through here, I was kind of feeling the same thing. I think I have to go Steel Eel. Yeah, we're definitely not earning any new fans with this tournament here.
No, I don't think so.
This is our other. If you remember, we had one where we had triple threat.
Oh, sure.
Going on. So this is the second one of those. Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags America versus Superman The Ride at Six Flags New England versus Titan at Six Flags over Texas. This is a match of rides, and it's a three-way too, but yet it's like none of these do I really think about anymore.
No, yeah, this is a funny triple threat here. Okay. Well, can we just knock out Superman at America right off the bat?
Okay, well, why? Do you not like 50 feet of track that just goes straight along the ground and nothing happens? Does that bother you?
Between these three, this is definitely the worst one. Yeah, this ride, not very good. I mean, when I first rode it, way back when, in like, I don't know, 2000, 2001, very soon after it opened, I loved it, but I don't think I'd been on an Intamin Airtime machine yet.
This is the first of that trilogy that you rode, right?
Yes. Oh, should we say, what is it called? Is it just called Ride of Steel now at Darien Lake?
Well, there's also Ride of Steel at Darien Lake, yeah.
And that's not in this tournament because we did not ride it?
Correct. It's mirror image, though, of America.
Yeah. Wasn't that the first one?
It's exactly the same. Oh, no, it is. It is.
99, 2000.
And I'll tell you how I know that. It's because I do remember that boring straight piece of track that I was just mentioning is because in Darien Lake, there's a river that it goes over, and it's got a bridge over it. That's why it's like that. And then they just cloned it, mirror image, at Six Flags America. And so there, it's just a grass field, and you're just going for like way too long, just riding straight with nothing happening.
Yeah.
And you're like 5 feet off of the grass, and it's like, why is this happening? This is ridiculous. And then also like that ride is just weird. It's like it was designed too perfectly or something. It was like designed with a protractor and a compass. It's just very all like that. You can see if you look at a satellite image, like the turnaround helix, it's like a perfect circle. It's a case where like perfection doesn't really equate to a better ride. In fact, I think it's worse. All the wrinkles are ironed out, and it's just kind of boring. Anyway, there you go. So let's knock that one out. So needless to say, we don't really care for that ride. So that was between New England Superman, also formerly Superman Ride of Steel. Then it was Bizarro for a number of years, and then when they brought Superman back in, they decided to call it Superman the Ride.
Yeah.
Not really sure why they did that, but that versus Titan. So, well, quickly, Titan, we've already talked about it. It's Goliath from Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Yeah. It is a straight clone.
And it's not even mirror, it's straight up.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing to say about it is that it rides better.
For whatever reason, yeah, I definitely enjoyed Titan more than I ever enjoyed Goliath. And we both really kind of liked, we both liked it enough anyway to go back and do it. We did it twice or even 3 times.
Well, we added it to our night run, and it's hard. It's a pain in the ass to get to. It's a long walk. It's a dead end walk. You go outside the park proper across the train tracks, but yet we did it. We sucked it up and did it because it's not a park we go to very often, and we really liked it. We wanted to add that to our final run. So yeah, within that park, it was one of our favorite rides, actually. And then, okay, Superman the Ride, Six Flags New England. I mean, it's like a tale of two rides. It's weird. It's from opening to about, I don't know, what was it, 2008 or so? It was one of the great rides. It was one of my favorites. It was definitely, I would have said, Intamin's best. I liked it better than Millennium Force. It's got the air, but it's also got speed, and it's an interesting layout it's a combination out and back and twister. Kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, first half out and back, second half is like twister. Yeah.
It also has a really cool tunnel where you actually tunnel under midway. It's like you're tunneling under almost like it's a ramp stairway thing that they have going on there. But that's unique. The first drops into a trench tunnel as well. And then in the Bizarro conversion, that's not when they changed the trains, or at least the restraints at that point.
I'm not
and
sure.
And they kind of fucked it up.
Yes, they did. They did fuck it up, yeah.
And to this day, it's just not what it was. I don't enjoy it the same way.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And and it's funny because New England knows that ride is well loved, and they advertise and they boast about the golden tickets in the station and everything. How many years that it actually beat out Millennium Force for #1? Because there was a number of years that it did, and yet it's just still Six Flags, and they can't keep it together, and they still maintain the ride poorly. So I'm sure that has something to do with it. I'm sure if that ride was in a Cedar Fair park from day one, we might still like it a lot more today. But the whole Bizarro thing, and then they put the audio on it, and it was just the movie sound bites, and then they put this stupid billboard upside down buildings, whatever the hell it is, next to the track and stuff. And
yeah,
it's just a bunch of stupid shit. I don't know. And then some of that's still there, even though it's now not Bizarro any longer. They didn't take all that down. So it's just like a weird hodgepodge now. I don't know. It's unfortunate.
So you had mentioned that Titan is a mirror image of an exact copy.
Exact copy, yeah.
An exact copy.
That's right. So you've kind of ridden two of these.
So I've kind of ridden two of these, and Superman, I have only ridden it as the newer version that you guys are saying sucks, and it sucks. So I am gonna vote for the other one.
Oh,
that's why I came back.
You came over to vote for Titan.
I came over to vote for Titan.
Well, then there you go. Titan wins, everybody.
Okay.
Case closed.
That's fine with me.
All right. Well,
I'm torn anyway, so it's fine. I'll go there. That's fine.
Can you go back to Millennium Force then?
In fact, I kind of like it because this is just I like that we're pissing people off now. Now I'm into it.
Yeah, we're eliminating all of the very popular ones that have
typical fan favorites.
Yeah. That had been fan favorites for like 20 years, and we're knocking them all out in the first round.
Well, yeah, okay, but now it's going to make for a very interesting tournament from here on out, because now it's like, what's the best of what's left, even for other people.
Okay.
You may not agree with us, but now, whatever.
And for the record, I did vote Millennium Force.
That's true. She did vote Millennium Force. It's funny, to eliminate that, though, and New England Superman, at least the New England Superman's, a bunch of years ago, that would have been impossible. But because it's weird, if I got to it late and this is the only way I ever knew it, I think I might appreciate it more. But I think I do have that thing where I know what it can be, and it's not anymore, and that pisses me off more than anything. So it makes me, I've turned on that ride harder than I maybe would have if I didn't ride it until 2010 for the first time. Thank you, Coaster Cat. You saved the day.
You're welcome.
Ended that conversation. Titan, a Giovanola ride moves on. What the hell? Doing here. Now, here we go. The last match of the first round. We have Diamondback at Kings Island versus, can you guess what it is? What we haven't said yet or seen yet? I'll tell you. Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point.
Okay.
Magnum advances. All right.
No, Diamondback.
Everybody. Magnum advances in an upset victory, and we'll see you next time. Wah, 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 wah.
I believe what you meant was wah, wah, wah. No, Diamondback all the way.
Oh.
Come on. I hate Magnum.
Oh, hate. That's a strong word.
And I really enjoyed Diamondback. Magnum just hurt. I'll never forget my first ride wearing way too thin of a t-shirt and it beating the shit out of me.
You hate Magnum.
I
Well,
hate it.
okay, you got to it late, and it's only gotten rougher over the years. It was doing some weird things. I remember on the top of the second drop, it had a weird bobble where every time it like bumped us, and that was really weird.
Diamondback is fun. Arrow just hurts.
Classic. It's the first one. It's the first airtime machine of
Well,
this
yeah.
of its type, more or less. Give or take Gemini, which is also.
Gemini's better than this.
Well, I should have had Gemini on the list. I was debating it at one point, but it didn't make the tournament cut.
There's also Excalibur at Valley Fair. That was kind of...
That's also
Really?
kind of a precursor to an airtime machine. Yeah.
No, I mean, Diamondback is better. I do love Magnum, though. Always
Okay.
have, always will. You know, riding it last year, it was... I thought it was still great. I don't know. I didn't get any weird... I didn't get any weird rides on it. I thought it was just as great as ever.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, don't confuse me. I mean, it's still great. It was just rougher than ever before.
I didn't even get that. I thought it was running very well. But I don't know. But maybe because I'm partial to Arrow like you, B, and because I've been riding it for almost 20 years, maybe I just know that ride really well. I know what to expect. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, because it's definitely has the Arrow characteristics. It's rough, you know, for an airtime machine at least. I mean, it's
Yes, yeah. And the turnaround is awkward. I'll definitely give you that.
turn around the ball sack.
Ball sack's a little
that weird?
weird.
Oh, the heart?
It's supposed to, yeah, it's the heart, but it's kind of like a sack. It's just the ball sack turnaround.
It's a ball sack. All right.
And the restraints are not the best, not the most comfortable trains.
Yeah, it's weird. Like all these years later, like I wonder if they had put Morgan trains on it, that would have done anything. But now it's been so long that I wouldn't advocate messing with it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's fine the way it is. And it's the coaster that started the coaster wars, if that means anything to anybody anymore. On the other side, you got Diamondback. That's right up there, and that's one that every time we do it, we're always talking about it. We're always torn. Is this the best B&M airtime machine? Is it not? I mean, it's close. It's right in there. It was done a little bit later than some of the ones that we've gushed over earlier in this tournament, like Apollo's Chariot and Nitro. By that time, they were running some steeper angles. I know the lift is noticeably steeper, but also the drops are too. And it results in even more air and just some more extreme forces. Goes out and back like into the woods outside the park proper. The beginning and end are right over the midways and the main park.
Which is really cool.
The water
The
splashdown,
water.
yeah,
The rainbow that it can make if you're there at the right time in the morning.
and the weird attempt at modified trains that kind of came and went that they did there. That it's one of the few couple rides that has the row of four is split up into 2 and 2.
That's not great. That I could
But-
do without.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard about that and saw pictures, I was thinking it was going to be a great idea, and then, actually doing it, realizing that this is not that great, and I can see why they went back on it pretty soon after.
Yeah, Diamondback is perfection. I love it. I wouldn't change a thing, except maybe that weird seating arrangement. But as far as the layout, I think the layout is pretty perfect. I really love it. I think they nailed it. Yeah, one of the best ever, one of the best B&Ms ever, one of the best airtime machines ever. It's up there in every category, and definitely beats out Magnum for me.
Well, I guess my vote doesn't matter then.
Your vote always matters.
Are you going Magnum?
I vote Magnum XL 200 times. Therefore, it outweighs your 2 votes, and I guess I win.
Okay.
All right. The nostalgia side. I mean, if I really had to just say or think about what the better ride is.
Yes, that's what it is. It's not are you or are you not an Arrow whore, because we know you are.
Okay, so it's really about the ride here.
Yes.
Just sure.
Yes.
All right. Diamondback is a better ride. Fine, I said it.
And it's unanimous. Woohoo!
But okay, we'll allow Diamondback to advance.
And is that it for the first round picks?
And that is it for the first round. And it really is almost all the notable ones. I know I did not put Intimidator from Carowinds in there.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about.
I don't know. It didn't need to be in here, I thought.
It didn't even rate.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. It is not very good. We have done it multiple times. We have done it like on multiple visits. And I remember that second visit before we went on it thinking, well, I don't know, maybe we just got a weird ride that first time, or maybe I'm remembering it wrong or something. I'm sure it's fine. It's a lot better than I remember. And then we did it again, and it's like, no, it really does suck. That really is too bad. I didn't remember that wrong.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I don't know what happened.
But I don't know. We got the big boys in there.